What's up, guys? My name's Cam.
And my name's Joel.
It's day 2, Sports from the Gutter. We're going to get right into it with our post game analysis for the Women's Softball College World Series. I'm totally kidding. So the final score was 113-91, with, of course, the Warriors winning this. It was just a complete landslide, especially up until the third quarter.
Definitely.
It just seemed like, the Warriors make it look easy, honestly. It looks like the Cavs, they just look terrible, both, defensively and offensively. I'm not going to say the big three from the Cavs are playing bad offensively, but it just seemed like they just couldn't stop the Warriors at all.
Yeah, pretty much. Like you said, game pretty much went like how we thought it was going to go as far as game one goes, seeing how the Warriors had home court advantage. I'm glad to see Steph actually had a pretty good game. Like we said last podcast, he usually doesn't do well in the finals. So to see him off to a good start in game one, that definitely was a plus for the Warriors. KD just pretty much proved that he was a great addition to the team with his performance. Biggest surprise was LeBron. He had a pretty good first half as far as points go and efficiency, but turnovers, he was a whole different story.
8 turnovers. He had 8 turnovers.
8 turnovers. That was pretty disappointing to watch. I was kind of expecting him to be a little more careful with the ball, and I was expecting the Warriors to be a little bit more careless with the ball, actually. Usually the Warriors are pretty careless sometimes when it comes to turnovers, especially when they have a lead, such as what they had in that third quarter. But they actually maintained discipline this time around, which was pretty surprising.
Definitely. You made a good point earlier, about the game, saying that this could affect Steph's legacy. When you said that, what did you mean exactly by that?
Well, a lot of naysayers are there when it comes to whether or not he really is a top 5 player in the NBA, and rightfully so. Like he does deserve those naysayers, seeing as how when it's actually really important, he doesn't really come through.
What about the 2015 finals, when they got the championship?
Yeah, he played
collectively, they did, bring that game. But I got to say that Steph, he really was playing amazing level of basketball in the playoffs. The finals specifically
is when it really
is
comes.
right. But
yeah.
to judge somebody's whole legacy, the 402 3-pointers in one season, the countless records that he's broken, don't think his legacy, the finals, it will, definitely kind of water it down. I'm not going to say it's going to completely.
It doesn't completely throw it in the trash.
Right.
But when it comes to Jordan, the biggest thing that we use to solidify his legacy is his finals performances. So there was a period of time where people actually wondered, was Curry right there for the next Jordan, completely sabotaging LeBron's little run that he had. So for him to come into the finals and just completely be absent, I thought that was a huge problem for his legacy. And the fact that he's definitely picked it up so far in Game 1, not sure how the rest of the series is going to go. But if Game 1 is any indication of the rest of the games, I think he's looking for a good series.
Absolutely. And just as collectively, the team, they definitely had amazing ball movement as far as the Warriors go. They had 31 assists versus the Cavs 15 assists, which is incredible. You could just see their selflessness. They're willing to pass. It's definitely Steve Kerr. He definitely implemented that whole ball movement, that pass first mentality. Even though they have guys that can pretty much take it themselves, they still choose to pass the ball, and that is what makes the Warriors so great, and that's what the Cavs really have to pretty much mimic. Going into Game 2,
which they usually do, but it just
right. They usually see their selflessness, but in the finals, Game 1, I don't know if it was the nerves, sloppiness, the turnovers. Bad ball movement. It was terrible, and I can't even really say that for the big three in the Cavs because
they had
Kevin Love, Kyrie Irving, LeBron. They had a pretty decent game, but then they just from the role players they had no support. The bench was just it was just quiet, completely dead, and the Warriors they came as an entire team from starters to the last man on the bench. They came to play, and that's what was the difference maker in Game 1. So Game 2, they're definitely going to have to, figure out exactly what they have to do in order to, stop the Warriors this game. But we are going to do something interesting today. We are actually, going off of the post-final analysis, we're actually going to rate our top 10 starters from both teams collectively, so not individually, top 5 for the Cavs, top 5 the Warriors. We're going to rate all top 5 starters, or rather top 10 starters.
pretty much rank him from 1 to 10.
From 1 to 10.
Who did their thing and who didn't do their thing.
So before we even, we decided separately. So I don't even know Joel's top 10 right now. He doesn't know mine. So, go ahead and go first, Joel. You can say your top 10, and then I will say mine.
All right, I'm going to start off at number 10, being the worst, and that's going to go to Tristan Thompson. Now, Tristan Thompson, this is a man that's supposed to control the boards. He's a man that's supposed to bully the Warriors on the boards and bully them throughout the rest of the game. Tristan Thompson had 0 points in this game. Tristan Thompson can't afford to have 0 points. I believe he had 3 or 4 rebounds, which was a big issue for the Cavaliers, seeing as how the Warriors had second chance points.
That's horrible.
At any point.
Exactly. And I also, at number 10, I had Tristan Thompson as well.
Yeah, he was hand down. It was so
terrible.
easy to see
He's supposed to be like a driving force, especially on the boards. Mm-hmm. He only had 4 rebounds, 3 offensive, when the man's supposed to be having, 10-plus boards a night. Mm-hmm. He's supposed to, exactly like you said, the bully ball. He had 0 points, which is absolutely horrible for a finals game 1 performance. Mm-hmm. So he's definitely going to have to change that. He's going to have to figure out how to, keep Draymond out of the paint, how to keep Zaza out of the paint, because it looked like Zaza was just making it look easy while he was getting those rebounds. So let's go right to number 9. Who do you have there?
I got J.R. Smith at number 9.
I also do.
Yeah, J.R. Smith, another one where just 3 points. 3 points. They definitely need a much bigger output from him. If he's not going to do it on one side of the court, then he's got to do it on the other. And he didn't even do a great job of doing it on the defensive side as well.
Absolutely, yeah. So he played 28 minutes. In that 28 minutes, he went 1 for 4 from the field. So he's going to have to figure out how to, he's definitely a very streaky shooter. So he's going to have to figure out how, to make his shot. And then once he gets his shot, he'll then, have the energy going forward to kind of drive, because the role players, they didn't help at all. J.R. Smith is definitely supposed to be somebody that, like Klay Thompson, is able to make a shot, especially open or guarded. It's detrimental to them, honestly.
He's got to earn his money.
Absolutely.
The money that he requested this offseason, he's got to show that he's actually worth it.
Yes, sir. So number 8, who do you have at number 8?
I got Zaza Pachulia.
Interesting.
I actually thought about putting Zaza higher, but he didn't really play that much. But from what he did play, he did get a lot of good stuff done. He didn't injure anyone, which is also great. So it made sure that our potential good series was still intact.
Absolutely.
But he actually did play pretty well, pretty decent. He did get a lot of lucky shots off. We'll say that, but he played a pretty decent game.
Yeah, definitely. Number 8, I had Klay Thompson, and I have Klay Thompson number 8 because obviously he's just in a complete slump. I think he went 3 for 16 or something like that. Mm-hmm. So that was just it's terrible. Klay Thompson can't do it. Even though he's playing well on the defensive end, he's supposed to be a two-way player. Thompson is known for being a streaky shooter. I get that, but when it comes to the finals, you can't be averaging barely 14 points a night
when you're the top 3
when you're supposed to be one of you're supposed to be you're one half of one of the best backcourts of all time, so you can't be playing like this. But let's go to number 7. Who do you have at 7, Joel?
I have LeBron at 7.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
This probably has a lot to do with my expectations of LeBron.
All right, that makes
especially
sense.
Considering his postseason thus far. But a lot of it had to do with his plus minus of -22.
It's a little critical. I see that, but to put him at 7.
Yeah. It's just I just was expecting a lot more. His 8 turnovers?
Yeah, he did have 8 turnovers.
He just didn't play a great game. He started off fine, scoring wise. First quarter, he was right there neck and neck with KD. Second quarter, same thing. But as far as carelessness with the ball, he was not showing great skills. A couple of times he got beat by KD. I thought that was disappointing.
KD made him fall. KD did make him fall.
Whether or not he slipped or not, we'll put that up to discussion.
It usually doesn't matter.
But either way, it did not look good on his part.
Not at all.
Did not look good on the Cavaliers as a whole, really. Who'd you have as number 7?
7, I had Zaza. I had him at 7. He didn't have a crazy outstanding game. He had he played 14 minutes. We went 4 for 5 from the field, 8 points, 6 rebounds. So he had a pretty decent game. Not like I said, not much of a standout game, but he did. For the time that he played, he was a factor. So that's why I have him at number 7. Number 6, who do you have?
I've got Klay Thompson at number 6.
Okay.
Now I do share your sentiments about Klay Thompson's offensive play throughout the game. He was horrible. If it wasn't for the fact that the Warriors were playing so well, I'm pretty sure he wouldn't be shooting as much shots as he did, trying to get his shot into motion. But I do applaud that he at least just didn't give up. And his defensive play was amazing. When he guarded the Cavaliers, I believe the stats was the Cavs were 1 for 12 on field goals when Klay was guarding them.
Wow.
So yeah, his defensive game was A1, which was great. Usually you see when players aren't having a great game,
On offense, it reflects to on
their
defense.
confidence on defense,
Exactly.
and he knew he wasn't getting it done on offense, and he tied his shoes up and made it happen on defense, which was a big deal. He knows that his role has been diminished throughout the season because of KD's addition, and he hasn't been sour about it. He's actually came to play either way and done what he can for the team.
Yep. So number 6, I actually have Draymond there. I put Draymond at number 6 because I believe the top 5 did put up. They had a bigger effect on the game as a whole. Draymond kind of, usually when he actually doesn't do well from the field, he went 3 for 12. He only had, I believe, he had 11 boards. So he had 11 boards. I expected more, assists from him because they did have a high assist total, but he went 3 for 12. Even though he did not score too well, Draymond is very much known for his intangibles. So his ability to motivate the team, his ability to stop plays, even though he doesn't put up a lot of stats that show up actually in the stat sheet. He does a million other things. He's the captain of the team, in my opinion. So he's a driving force. The field goal percentage is why I have him at 6. But again, like I said, it's not much expected of him to hit every single shot he's taking, but it does help. They still got the win, but I do have him there at 6. Who do you have at 5?
I had Kevin Love at 5. Kevin Love, he didn't have a great game shooting from 3. I believe he was 3 of 6, but it wasn't too bad. However, he did have 21 rebounds.
Yes, he did have 21
So he did make up for Tristan Thompson's lack of rebounding this game, which the Cavaliers desperately needed because if he wasn't getting those 21 rebounds, then the score would have been even worse.
You can clearly see, you could just see some of the players on the Cavs, like Tristan Thompson, for example, just holding his head down when he was missing, not getting rebounds. And then Kevin Love coming through and, just hustling for every single rebound. Definitely. It just looked like he wanted it. He had that fire in his heart. He had that hunger. You could tell that he wanted another ring.
It's definitely a huge improvement from last finals.
Absolutely.
Where his name was practically brought up every day as a player that they should trade or release. So I do got to give it up for Kevin Love. Even though he didn't have his best game, but he definitely showed the effort.
Definitely. Number 5, I had Kyrie. Kyrie, he went 10 for 22. 24 points. He had about 3 rebounds, 2 assists. So you don't expect Kyrie to be a playmaker. He put up 24 points, which of course is amazing. It's Kyrie. But at the end of the day, the other top 4 that I have, I feel like made a bigger impact. But he did put up his points, and like I say, nobody expects him to be a playmaker. So the fact that he's 5 doesn't have anything to do with his assists or anything like that. But what do you have at number 4?
I actually had Kyrie at number 4.
Okay.
To be honest, Kyrie and Kevin Love, that could have been interchangeable for me. But he did have a quiet, good game. Pretty much not much to say about Kyrie. He did his thing by getting to the basket, which he's been showing he can do amazing throughout this whole entire pool season. So either way, Kevin Love, Kyrie, that number is interchangeable for me.
All right. At 4, I had Kevin Love. He had 15 points, like you said, 21 boards. That's why I put him over Kyrie, because of that 21 boards was a huge factor. They would have gotten blown out by who knows how much more if it wasn't for Kevin Love's hustling on the boards. He also had 3 blocks. He's playing pretty well defensively. So I got to give that to him at number 4. And number 3, who did you have?
I had Draymond at number 3. Now, like you said earlier, Draymond didn't have a great game offensively. He tends to not have a great game offensively, but this game in particular, he was doing a little bit more shots. They still weren't falling in. However, he did his thing on the aspects of the game where the Warriors usually rely on him for.
Exactly.
As far as rebounding, as far as the heart of the team. And maybe it's my low expectations for Draymond as far as his anger goes or his temper goes, but he did a good job of not letting the Cavaliers get under his skin.
We should make that a stat. We should see how many times Draymond, just loses it. It could be a stat because,
it's really
like
important.
we said,
it's
exactly. It's very, very important that he keeps his composure.
It's one of the reasons why a lot of people believe that the Warriors lost last year's finals, that's a pretty big reason right there. And the fact that he had 2 early fouls in the first quarter, which worried me. I was like, here we go again. Here's a repeat of last year's finals. All it takes is for that 3rd or 4th foul for him to lose it. I thought this was I'm pretty sure LeBron's plan is to get Draymond suspended again.
That was a big factor, definitely. I think it was Game 4 of last year where they pretty much were trying to close it. I believe it was Game 4 or Game 5.
Yeah.
They were trying to close out the series, and Draymond was out, and we're just like, you know what? It's all right. We can take a loss. They could 3-2. They could still win this. And then we saw what happened. So, Draymond definitely has to keep a composure. Did you see the comment that JR made about Draymond? He said he has to stop kicking people in the nuts. So apparently he did it again.
Really?
I didn't see it.
Didn't
He said the Warriors are playing dirty. I didn't really see too much of that.
Come on,
could be
JR.
some salty stuff there. He could have been salty.
Score more than 3 points first.
Yeah, then you could talk.
Yeah.
So that was number 3. Number 3, I had LeBron. It's LeBron. It's LeBron. He had 8 rebounds, 8 assists, I believe 28 points.
28 points.
So, that alone, he damn near triple-double. So that I have to give him number 3 spot for. He did have the 8 turnovers, so that's why I didn't put him above my top 2 candidates. But I put him at number 3 because of all of his other stats. It just seemed like he was still unstoppable, driving to the basket. But he's going to have to motivate his role players and the rest of the team, honestly, because if they go into Game 2 with the same mentality, it's going to be the same result. So who do you have at number 2, Joel?
Number 2, I had Stephen Curry. I had Darwell. Darwell, he had a pretty great game.
Wardell.
I said Darwell.
Darwell.
Wow. Anyway, he had a pretty great game. He had 6 3-pointers, and like I said earlier, I think Steph is really the key to the Warriors winning this series. I already know KD's going to do his thing. I've always said that. KD is going to shoot efficiently. He's going to get his points. There's going to be times where the Cavaliers know they can't stop him. But as far as Steph goes, once he starts making his threes, obviously we've seen teams in the past just completely lose their heart once he starts getting in his groove. So the fact that he was able to do that this game, I thought that was a great look for the Warriors, a great look for Steph.
Definitely. When Steph gets into that, that mode, you can see the crowd erupt when as soon as he makes a 3, he makes that first 3, the crowd is going crazy, and it's the finals, the finals environment, so that's a big impact on the game, and we saw that happen, and the crowd was another, they're like pretty much the 6th man, if you will.
Definitely.
The crowd definitely gave him that energy.
Also the 30-foot 3-pointer, that's his biggest weapon. And that's it. I think we underestimate what it does to a team once Steph hits that.
If somebody had 3-pointer on me, I would just be like, I can't do that. It's not even fair. Like, I'm not gonna guard you past the 3-point line, but it's Steph Curry, so you're going into the game, you have to expect him to do things like that.
And he just looked completely more confident compared to last finals where.
So maybe we could say, who knows? Maybe the injury did have an effect on him.
Confidence level wasn't there. Definitely, that's for sure. Like, you just saw the way he was dribbling the ball yesterday. That was completely. It was their last finals, but not to the degree that we saw yesterday.
Absolutely.
He just took it to the basket with more confidence. It was just all around much better game for Steph Curry.
Do you think something that's to do with that is the fact that KD's on his team, so it relieves some of the pressure for him to have to carry the team?
That could be it. Also, I just think he's got a much better ride going into this finals compared to last postseason.
It's very true. They were undefeated so far in the playoffs, still to this day. So, but that aside, who do you have at number 1? I mean, we all know that me and you both had KD at number 1.
Yeah, it was pretty much hands down. KD was the best in this game. He just completely did his thing. He showed why the Warriors got him. Like, if there was any doubt of the Warriors being better off without KD, where those questions were actually coming out at the end of the regular season when KD was out, and the Warriors were playing great. They won like 14 straight. It just completely was thrown out as soon as we saw this Game 1 performance from KD. He just had a great game. 38 points, shot efficiently, did his thing on the defense. Had 6 dunks in that first half.
6 dunks, 8 boards.
It was just
8
ridiculous.
assists, and he was 14 for 26 from the field, so above 50%.
Yeah.
KD came to play. He's here to show that he's back in the finals. He wants his ring, and he'll stop anybody. Nothing's gonna stop this man. So that's our top 10. I'll just go over mine really quick again. So it was We had Tristan Thompson at 10, J.R. Smith, Klay Thompson, Zaza, Draymond, Kyrie, K-Love, Braun, Curry, and then KD.
Yep. And mine, Tristan Thompson at 10, J.R. Smith at 9, Zaza, LeBron, Clay, Kevin Love, Kyrie, Draymond, Steph, and Durant. Not a lot of difference, but a couple of big differences there.
Yeah, you had Draymond way higher than I had Draymond. You had LeBron. That was the big catalyst right there. You had LeBron all the way. Yeah. I see that the disappointment, dropping down your list, but I have him there because it's LeBron, and of course I have my pride because I did make that statement that Cavs in 7. Still standing by that. But that aside, so
let's get
Klay Thompson.
Let's talk about Klay a little
Klay
bit more.
Thompson. What do you think is going through his head right now? Like, where do you think his mental is at? Like, because he just looks like, as far as his offensive performance goes, it does not look like regular Klay Thompson.
Pretty sure Space Jam is going through his head. He is wondering where his shot is. It's been completely absent this whole entire finals. You just don't go from one of the best shooters on the planet to the Harrison Barnes of this finals, which he's essentially looking like, except with much better defense.
Exactly. That's true.
We always know Klay was the unselfish type, though. He's kind of giving off that vibe. As soon as Durant came,
off the court, exactly. Off the court, you see he's just like a very chill, very cool guy. On the court, you see he's one of the people that is very unwilling to take the shot. I'm not going to say unwilling to take the shot, but he's
willing to give it up.
Exactly. Especially if he knows he's not shooting well, he'll be more willing to pass the ball. So that all falls into the reason why the Warriors had 31 assists. But Klay Thompson is going into free agency in 2019. What would you see? What moves would you have him doing in his free agency?
I think a lot of this depends on whether or not what happens in these next few seasons with the Warriors, whether they win 2 more finals. So this gives Klay 3 rings. If he gets 3 rings, even if he gets 2 rings, if I'm Klay, I'm thinking about walking away from the Warriors. Obviously, I've had great times there, but I want to see what I can do with my own team. I've said this in the past before, because he's shown he can be a great player. I want to see what he can do with his own team, where he gets a lot more freedom with the ball.
That I gotta disagree with. I can't see Klay Thompson having his own team, just for the simple fact that I feel like he definitely has some qualities of a great player. He definitely has qualities of a great player. I'm not going to deny him that.
Maybe not his own team, but maybe just not the third option.
Right, third option. I see that. I definitely see him as like maybe number 2, number 1. I could see him. If he finds his offensive game, if he finds the monster that took his powers.
Yeah.
But what if, hear me out, what if Klay went to the Cavs?
Yeah, I'm not going to hear you out on that one. That's just crazy. He would never do that. It's just...
KD said he would never leave. KD said he would never leave OKC.
Did he say that?
He said it in a tweet, I believe, in 2013. He said he was there to stay.
Either way, that's way worse than KD leaving OKC. That's just completely going to the dark side. I feel at that point.
That would be
especially after the whole Halloween party situation with the cookies and all that.
All right. So thinking about it this way, and I doubt it's going to happen, but just think about it this way. KD, they lost to the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals because they were up 3-1. The Warriors came back, kind of the whole Cavs thing. That would leave me salty. So if KD went to that team that beat them 3-1. Westbrook, of course, was butthurt. Yeah. So if, say, for example, the Cavs win this series,
I don't think it's the same thing.
That would be crazy to see.
Because I think,
not saying it would happen, obviously, but I'm just saying.
Because I think,
how crazy would that be?
To me, the finals and the Western or Eastern Conference finals are a big, huge difference as far as like emotional trauma from the loss of it. So I don't think it would be the same thing. Plus, if he's going to his own team, I would want him to go to a team where he's either the first or second option and for the money, where he gets that big contract. Cavaliers,
he would have to take a huge pay cut. It would be just crazy to see, like, Klay, Kyrie, Klay, LeBron, K-Love. That would just that would be an unstoppable force. But that, of course, that would never happen.
Yeah. But I feel
where would you want to see? All right, so in reality, where would you want to see Klay?
Great scenario, seeing as how I'm a Nets fan, and I don't see us winning a playoff game anytime soon. It'd be amazing if he went to the Nets, something like the Nets, and just really try to make that his own team. That would be great. and they could definitely afford him, so that would be great. But something along those lines, where he's already got his 3 rings, he's already got his championships, and he can always go back to the Warriors. I'm pretty sure they'll accept him with open arms.
Yeah, of course.
Towards like the end of his career or anything like that. So that's always never a problem, really. I think it would be, he should think about it, depending on how these next 2 seasons go.
I would like to see him go to the Timberwolves.
Timberwolves, okay.
You know, it's a very young team. They're up and coming. They got some good. They got some good players over there. They got Karl Anthony Towns, Andrew Wiggins. Zach LaVine. It would be cool to see Zach LaVine at the point, or maybe if they have a different playmaker. I believe Ricky Rubio might even be going to New York. I don't know if you heard that rumor.
Those talks are coming in again.
Yep. So I mean, it'd be cool to see Klay Thompson there at the 2. Working that system. They do have a fast-paced kind of game similar to the Warriors, so he would probably fit right in. He could bring that ball, that ball movement mentality. He'll always be open, of course, as Klay. And even if he's not, he's still going to pull that trigger. Hopefully he finds his stroke. But I would like to see him go to the Timberwolves.
Yeah, that would be interesting. The Cavs are actually still paying Mike Brown, which is pretty sad if you think about it.
So you're telling me the Cavs...
The Cavaliers are still paying Mike Brown. And I believe they're still paying David Blatt. But the big thing is that the fact that they're still paying Mike Brown.
Wow.
Which means that if the Warriors do end up winning this series, they pretty much paid Mike Brown to beat them, which is completely sad.
That's as sad as it gets.
Yeah.
Mike Brown is cruising, I'm not gonna say he's cruising.
He's
he definitely has to.
Cruising.
He's cruising.
He's about as cruising as you can get, really, if you think about it.
So in that
undefeated
aspect,
postseason, he didn't have to really head coach to the regular season.
That's true. He's just cruising. In that aspect, though, so do you think the coaching has a big impact in the Warriors game?
I've wondered this because there hasn't really been a scenario where I feel Mike Brown has to outcoach the other coach. There hasn't been really any close games besides Game 1 between the Spurs and the Warriors, but obviously the whole Kawhi situation kind of changed the outcome of that. So there hasn't really been a little coaching duel.
So I mean, in that saying that, you're absolutely right, but
I do think it's funny though. I'm sorry, I cut you off right there. That this is the second time where the assistant coach has came in and he's like led the Warriors to undefeated starts.
I think that's what I was gonna say. I think Steve Kerr even said that without him, they're like 102-6.
It's kind of a little suspicious there, but obviously Steve Kerr was the architect of this whole system. But you can't help but notice that they played pretty well without him either way.
It's kind of like goes like that saying, like teaching me how to fish.
Yeah.
I believe Steve Kerr taught them how to fish, and now they're eating. Now they're eating.
If I was Steve Kerr, I would stay away from this finals though. Just wait till you're healthy again. You don't want to be a distraction, which I'm pretty sure that's his whole mindset on this whole thing.
Yep.
And just let Mike Brown keep doing his thing. And if I'm the Cavs, I gotta stop firing people probably.
Yep.
Or at least make sure you pay them off before, because it just looks bad.
It definitely looks bad. They're literally paying the opposing head coach to not out coach them, but coach the team that's beating them. So
yeah,
they gotta figure that out. So I mean, the last thing is, what do you think going into Game 2 the Cavs have to do to avoid the same results of Game 1?
They definitely gotta stay away from the turnovers. And they definitely got to stop those second chance points. That's the 2 biggest things. Other than that, like you said, the top 3 of the Cavs played great games. It wasn't horrible games.
Right. They need more out of the role players for sure.
Definitely
the role players, the bench. They need to play Derek Williams. I don't even know if they played him at all.
No,
I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
He definitely can make somewhat of an impact. K Felder,
He was in a suit. I'm not sure he was on the roster or anything.
Who knows? But yeah, that aside, the role players. Game 2 is definitely going to be a lot more physical, I feel like. Game 1 it was kind of just like, all right, let's feel it out. Let's see how the Warriors are playing. I feel like Game 2 going into it, the Cavs are going to be a lot more physical. It's going to be a lot more bully ball. We're going to see a lot more LeBron in the post because they can't stop him down there. Right. I feel like LeBron was kind of going to Game 1. He was trying to,
feel it out.
Exactly. Feel it out. Play a certain way where he was just like, I don't have to take this game over. I feel like that's how he's going to play in Game 2. LeBron's not going to want to lose, so we're going to see him in the post a lot more. We're going to see a lot more Kyrie one-on-ones. I still feel like he's the best one-on-one player in the league at the guard position, so we're going to see a lot more Kyrie one-on-ones, I feel like. And we're going to see, like I said, going into the physicality of the game, we're going to see Steph. I don't know if you remember in last year's series, he was getting bullied.
Yeah.